Everybody, this is Melissa, your free range psychic. Today is September the 2nd, 2024, here in the States. It's a Labor Day weekend. Labor Day is tomorrow. I hope everybody is well, whenever you're watching this, from whatever part of the world. So as you can kind of guess from the beginning or the intro of this video, I am going to be doing this tarot reading on the war in Ukraine and Russia, because Ukraine has invaded Russia now. So the war is in both places. And the guides wanted me to do this reading. I channel these cards. I usually use the Cero Marchetti Gilded Tarot that you can find as the Easy Tarot. And I'm going to be choosing a card from the Ascended Masters, another great deck by Doreen Virtue. And there's a musical interlude at the end, as per usual. So the reading itself, actually, you would think it's coming from the Russian perspective or the focus on Putin, but actually that's not what the guides channel. To me, it's actually starting off with Ukraine. And Ukraine is represented by strength, the strength card. So this is President Zelensky and the Ukrainian people and the Ukrainian army now surging up in strength and attacking Russia, even to the point of, or to the extent where they have been able to bomb Moscow with drones, because Russia continues to do heinous and hideous bomb attacks that are, whilst the Ukrainians are ostensibly targeting oil fields and military zones, the Russians seem to target playgrounds and civilian residential areas, and there's a big difference between these two countries, a big difference. So this is Ukraine rising up, showing great strength and moving forward here. And this is the tower, also in this subject position. This is the war. And the war started with Russia attacking Ukraine, thinking they could, literally thinking, or Putin thinking he could conquer Ukraine in 3 days and go straight to Kiev, and that would be it. But several years later, and now Ukraine making great incursion into Russia, they underestimated the strength of Ukraine, the Ukrainian people, the Ukrainian army. And as a result, now also Russia is in this position. There's so many Russian troops that have been sacrificed. I think it's over 500,000. If I'm wrong, let me know. The Ukrainian army has taken like over 3,000 prisoners in Kursk, and that incursion into Kursk only started like maybe 3 weeks ago. It's like lightning fast. Above the devil, this is Putin, Vladimir Putin, and he is described by or represented by the emperor. And truly, this is Putin, who wants to get the band back together again, wants to, so to speak, wants to have the Soviet Union back together again, wants to be where Russia was when it was at the height of its ascendancy and power. And so not just Ukraine, but all of these countries that used to be under Soviet control are under threat. So I heard recently that there's now an iron curtain again around Russia, and what that actually means is all these countries like Finland and other countries that so does Estonia share a border or are in close proximity, uh, have closed their borders to Russia. And I think the most recent country was Finland, I think. So in the past, this is Genesis, the kernel of this terrible conflagration or war. So many lives lost, so much suffering. And then in this card also is the Wagner group that who are mercenaries who were under the auspice of Prigozhin, that the general who was unalived uh, in that explosion while he was in transit. He controlled the Wagner group, the mercenaries who were unbelievably inhumane and without any compunction to wreak suffering. And if you can see in this card, the Five of Swords, there are these people. This person's a narcissist. Obviously, this person's victory is, at least one of the interpretations, is correlated to the amount of suffering in the background that they wreak or that they have wrought. And these are true war crimes. And when Prigozhin died, then they were sent to Africa, places like I think Sudan and maybe Botswana. I now I don't remember precisely, but these countries that are really suffering. But they also, like Ukraine, there are countries in Africa that are rising up and turning away the Wagner group and getting back control. But yeah, this is the genesis of this war. Oh, I forgot one card. There was a card right at the beginning. It had the strength and the tower. This other card also came along with it, which is a Knight of Wands. And the guides say this is the Ukrainians changing the energy of the war, becoming, instead of the ones who are being attacked, into those who are the attacking army. They're shifting it up, and they're coming, and they've changed the energy, and now they are the ones who are on the attack. Underneath, and what's hidden here, the Empress and the world. So my guides say the Empress is the United States, and Statue of Liberty, she often stands for the US, and the world is the Western world. And these two forces are in well, let's see how I can explain this. They are backing this war, they are supporting this war, but they're hidden. Like they are hiding the extent of their involvement. This is just according to my guides, they probably knew of the planned incursion into Kursk by the Ukrainians and their strategy, and maybe helped form their strategy way before it ever happened. They have intelligence that they offered the Ukrainians. And I mean, this is all one shared interest, because so goes Ukraine, maybe so goes the world, because the Russians didn't want to stop, and they still don't want to stop. You hear Putin talk, that crazy interview with Tucker Carlson, and he's talking about, arcane history of Russia and the Soviet Union and go, and even before the Soviet Union, going back, to ancient times, maybe 1200s or 1300s or something, talking about, the justification that all this land belongs to Russia and they're just getting it back. So behind the scenes, the world, at least the Western world, is supporting Ukraine and helping them. And even though there's been some challenge with NATO in terms of getting Ukraine weapons, and also the U.S. because of the House, right? The Freedom Caucus not wanting to support Ukraine, tying up the funds, but Biden has been doing his best to be able to uh, get Ukraine these weapons. There are resistances in terms of certain weapons being allowed to be used because of NATO and because of the world stage. But behind the scenes, they are supported and greatly helped by the world, the Western world, including the U.S. and of course Europe, who are are hoping for the defeat of Putin and the strengthening of Ukraine. So the future, this is the Six of Wands. This is Ukraine. They will be victorious. That's what the guides say, and that's what they told me when I first did a reading several years ago on this uh, invasion. They said that Ukraine will be victorious. And isn't it interesting, this uh, offensive by Ukraine, because you can now see, or we can see as the world, how weak Russia really is. Things seem to just fall apart for them, and their response is taking a lot of time. And there's a lot of unrest in Russia, Moscow, um, burning down. The price of all these young people having been sacrificed to this war, and then because they sent so many people to die in this war, like they don't have people to fix things anymore. There's a lot of disrepair just because there's nobody around who's an expertise and like the power grid, or this and that. And then there's a lot of grift. So there's a discovery here that the generals, they've been uh, given funds to train the army or to do this or that, but then they pocket a lot of that money, and a lot of stuff has been in disrepair, or they never purchased the equipment they needed to purchase. It's just like is that paper tiger or something? There's this peeling off of the mask, or turning over the rock in terms of to see what's there, and it's just uh, a lot of decay. So they're predicting, as far as I can hear, uh, victory for Ukraine here. And then the overarching card is clarifying card is judgment. So this is a karmic war, such a karmic war. It goes back to World War II, and like the same kind of battles are being fought in Kursk that were fought between the Germans, and I believe it was the Ukrainians. It's like the Ukrainians actually, from what I hear, were the soldiers who won the victory for the Western alliances against the Germans when they made their incursion into Russia. And here you have the same strategies, the same battlefields. It's fascinating. So and this is a battle between good and evil. This is a battle between, do we want fascism or democracy in the world? So, and everybody's watching this too. You see these bodies rising from the dead, but there's like these there's such similarities and comparisons between what's happening now and what's happened in the world in the past and these big wars. Maybe World War One. I don't know, but I imagine so. And then even going back much further than that. And here we are watching it come back, deja vu. So the outcome, this again is this, the sun stands for Ukraine. This, they're one of their symbols that they choose to represent them is the sunflower. And this is the sun. This is victory. And then for the Russians, the Ten of Wands, and this is them having to retreat, having to pack everything up and leave. And here the world is watching. You see these deer, and they're in shame and humiliation, and that is what the guides say regarding their prediction for what's going to happen. And I don't think it's going to take as long as people think. Russia, its economy is doing terribly, and Putin. There's all kind. Well, it's probably a lot of it, maybe Western propaganda or whatever. But I see a lot of YouTube headlines regarding unrest in Russia and dissatisfaction, of course, with Putin. And if it gets to a certain point, Putin's life is truly in danger here, because whatever Putin had promised the Russian people, now that Russia itself is being invaded and their oil refineries are boom, 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 blown up, which is cratering their economy and the sanctions. But, their big reliance was on oil, and those pipelines are being obliterated and the refineries are being obliterated. So it just doesn't look good for them. So that is the reading that my guides wanted me to do on the current situation between Ukraine and Russia, and actually the world. Now we're going to go to the oracle card, and the oracle card that my guides gave me is focus on your strengths. I love the back of these cards. I love oracle cards. So just I had it, and let me find it again. Okay. Hollow is the god here on the card. This card reminds you to focus upon your strengths, not upon your perceived weaknesses. Your strengths could include your loving heart, pure intentions, people skills, hobbies, or something that you excel in. Even if your talents still need polishing, these are strengths and assets. The more you bless and appreciate your strengths, the stronger they're going to grow. If you focus upon so-called weaknesses, they will grow. This card comes to you as a reminder of the importance of viewing yourself with complete compassion and love. Anytime you find yourself thinking or feeling poorly about yourself, focus upon your strengths instead. Apollo, the Greek sun god, who is the son of Zeus and twin brother of the goddess Artemis, is a powerful deity who can bring out the sunshine in your life, literally and figuratively. Renowned for his physical strength, Apollo can also act as a personal trainer or motivator. He can also help you gain emotional and intellectual strength. So the guides want you to focus on your strengths. That is their guidance today for you. Okay, you guys, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. It helps me in the algorithm, because I think I'm often demonetized, or they don't really promote my videos because of the content that I talk about, and it's maybe too political for the advertisers. But I don't want to stop focusing on what I'm focusing on. But if you can overcome that with subscriptions, then you can rise up and kind of defeat the algorithm in that way. The more popular you are. allegedly. Anyway, I think that's how it works. So, you guys, I love you. You take care and have a wonderful weekend. I will be back next week. And, I'll be well with you. Okay. Take care. I love you. Bye bye.